So with all of his familiarity of people, and you might just say that he's only interested in what I can do for him. He wants me to feed him, pet him, do all the stuff that we all want. But he doesn't understand that there's actually a role that he plays in all of this. And I'm asking him to move only because I need him to understand that I'm going to engage him differently than he's ever been engaged before. That we've got a culture that's made it to where we know how to mind our manners, we do the right things. And in the meantime, it looks to me like there's a lot of stuff going on in the world that a whole bunch of us wouldn't agree with. That maybe we're on a trajectory where we've had freedom long enough that we've taken it for granted, and we've kind of lost our way. And so the privilege that I have to, okay, that was just a really big negotiation with him. Because you don't even know what you want, son. Like, what you think you want is for me to just come and pet you, but it's going to be way bigger than that. Way bigger. It's not working. All of your world, buddy. Everything's going to change. He's big, huh? Because of all the times that he's engaged with people, he knows who people are. He just doesn't know who I am. And if you can get the picture and find yourself in this picture, there's a lot of people that would say that they believe in God. But Jesus was out of kindness saying that you're going to have to decide for yourself who you say that I am. Because I'm not mama. I'm not here to just make him feel better about his situation, because as good as it is, as far as like if you're going to train a horse or raise a horse, this is a great way. So please don't take this as like I'm downing how it is that he's been raised. But this is really indicative of the culture that we're in, that some could call it entitlement, but that might be a little bit harsh for you, so we could use a different word if you want. But I'm not down here talking to y'all as though I'm not in the exact same condition. I never fought in a war. I don't even know that I've ever lost a loved one in a war. Pretty much everything that I have, like I've worked for stuff, I haven't just sat around. Like I've tried and I've done what I know to do. But we take for granted the fact that we just celebrated the 4th of July, which is a really big deal if you'll consider the price that was paid. And after we have that song and that prayer and that declaration that we are one nation under God, and although we're on tribal land, and I want to honor that we've got so much division that's still making it to where people aren't living whole lives, and the families aren't making it addiction and suicide, and the breakdown of the family and all the stuff that you can see that's going on. There's got to be an answer for it. And if religion was the answer, we already tried that. We've got all forms of godliness. We've got all kinds of religions. And you can pick one and you can sell yourself out to the religion. But this horse is not going to experience a transformation of who he is because of a belief system. It's going to come from an interactive, face-to-face encounter with the reality of, I better decide who God is to me. Who is this one that they call Jesus? And why is it that his life and his death and his resurrection still matters to me now more than ever? Because a little bit intimidating when they sing a funeral song right before I get ready to do this, but I don't know if you realize this, that's the one thing that we all got in common, is that we're all going to die. Except for this promise that Jesus gave that made it to where I'm actually going to live forever. So if that's not your experience, if you don't know with full confidence that you can sit here and realize that your life matters so much, that you actually have a say in where it is that we're going to go as a nation, and where it is that your family's going to go, and who it is that you're going to be as a man, that God didn't just entrust this to humanity, he trusted it to us men. He said, under our charge, that I've called you to be the head, and the way you're going to lead is going to be so contrary to your nature, because you're going to want to use your strength to dominate something. You're going to want to use your strength to make it to where everybody has to do what you tell them to do. And that's not what Jesus modeled. And why it's so great for me to be able to interact with these horses is because if I chose to, there's a lot of techniques that you can take a horse, and even as big as this guy is, and you can make him submit. And you can tie a leg up, you can tie him off to a post, you can try to scare the fear out of him. Shoot, if I wanted, you could just shoot him. I think if you'd consider what God could have done had it been his ways that he wanted us to learn, was that his ways were so kind and so gentle and so full of love and hope that people weren't being broken before him. They were broken already, and they came to him and they were getting healed. So this is his comfortable spot. And he's got lots of loves and fed lots of carrots and grain. And I don't know how many of you can identify with this, but man, we're just so well taken care of that even though we've been through some hard things, we're all sitting here in a free land doing whatever it is that we chose to do tonight. That's a pretty big deal. And so the reason his head's high and the reason he's snorting, I don't know if you can see how big his nostrils are, he's telling me this ain't super cool. And I know that he doesn't know what I'm fixing to do, but he knows I'm up to something. And he can feel me, and he's not understanding my words, but he's picking up everything I'm laying down. What is it about this guy that makes it to where there's a part of me that just wants to give my whole self to him, and then there's another part of me that just wants to run? And I want to keep trying to help him answer the question. I'm going to have Austin sing over you guys for a second here, and he and I are going to have a little conversation. That's it. So many. So many. Gee. Keep down. That's good. I don't know how much time you've gone through your life, maybe with a form of godliness. You've had a belief system, maybe you've had a religion, maybe you just showed up tonight and you're like, what in the world is this all about? And why does Jesus have anything to do with a horse? Please don't miss the condition he's in apart from me. This is as good as he can get. I can't turn him into a bigger pet than this. And if this is what this horse is capable of doing, then so be it. But this is what humanity is like apart from a oneness with God. And it's not just a belief system, it's an ongoing oneness that makes it to where I'm not even sure where I end and he begins. A life of such surrender that makes it to where I don't want any part of me that's not part of you. And none of us can stand here and say that we're doing that blamelessly, but that's the condition that he's in, and I want to get on his back because I want him to understand that he was built to do a whole lot more than give me kisses and eat grain out of my hand. Because right from here, all I can do is lead him around. Nobody's been on him. He hasn't been saddled or anything like that, so it's a big trust issue, and it's part of what I was waiting for was some flex in his neck and the things that he was showing me that he understands that something's different about tonight than just every other interaction that he's had with a person. And you can see the owner afterwards, because it's shocking to me that people think that this is horsemanship, and it's not. That there's a transaction that's taken place he's not sure what to do with yet. So he's probably going to fuck me off. Like that. It's a good boy. Yeah, that really happened. Really? Yeah. Brand new lid. What happened? Well, now you don't have to ask the owner, right? Yeah, I know. It's way bigger than you thought. And the big problem is that you settled for a religion. You settled with a belief system. You settled for your morality. There's so much more. Oh, and you're too big for me to get on that way. That's a good boy. He can tell the difference between my heart rate being up because I'm out of shape and me being anxious. So he's keeping track of that. It's amazing how intuitive they are. And people know when they're being lied to. And sometimes we're buying into the lie. I'm just asking that tonight we consider again, because I'm willing to risk it all so that we don't miss what it was that Jesus paid for to where we could become one with him. Attaboy. So in his world, what happens if something's trying to be a predator to him or dominate him in the herd, it's just a domination. So why I'll kneel before him is because he's got to understand that something entirely different than what his instincts have prepared him to do is happening. Hey, son, we've only had to do this once before, but they keep bringing me these horses that are so daggum tall that I have to get a running start, and it's scaring him. So don't go far, son. You might have to put me back on again. What do you think's going on inside his mind right now? Because if he shows that aggression to anything else, it's going to be, we'll fight fire with fire. And Jesus said, you've heard it said that not to kill. And he said, if you've even held hatred in your heart towards your brother, you're guilty of the same. Do not commit adultery. If you've looked upon a woman with lust, you're guilty of the same. Jesus changed the entire paradigm and said, would you guys stop just long enough to realize that you following the rules wasn't why I came, so that I could become a ransom for many. I'm not laying my life down so that you can live normal lives and just figure out how to do what you're told to do. That I wanted to fill you with a power that you're not even aware that you're capable of carrying. And from this posture and this position, that you and I can do things that you've never even dreamt of. Because you don't just inherit me in this position, but you actually get my mind. Everything that I know, I want to teach you. And there's a way for us to move a little slower than the last time. Atta boy. It's a good boy. And because he's not even sure who's in charge right now, he's yielded to an authority that he's never tasted. It's a brand new world. It's a good boy. Smooth. Smooth. This invitation that Jesus kept giving people, where he said, come and follow me, and I'll make you something new. Crazy thing is that people believed him. They started following him. They started not just seeing what he could do, they were watching his ways. That whenever people wanted to react to him with violence, he would show what love looks like. He would correct them in such a kind way. But they're like, oh, I'll follow this guy the rest of my life. Look at the mess you made on the ground. So it's for the glory, kingdom and honor. And Jesus said, if you want to be like me, if you want to see what the kingdom's like, don't look at the woman, look at the child. He was captivated by him. And it's just the conversation we're having. Why, with all of you staring at him, would he get that transfixed by a child? It's all resonating with this new kingdom that he's figuring out. That this isn't a kingdom of being submitted to a dominating king. This is someone that's understanding what it's like to be so loved by a power that he doesn't understand, that he's going to spend the rest of his life trying to unfold this mystery. What just happened? You're never going to want to go back, buddy. There's too much inside of you. The world's waiting to see it. And you and I together, can you see what Jesus was doing? His disciples, the men and women that were following him. They thought they had it figured out because they're like, well, we'll just keep following Jesus around. We'll try to do the things that he's doing, and he's given us authority to do it. I forget her name. The woman that prayed over us. Like when I first met her, she's just like this really kind, gentle grandma. And then she steps up to the mic and realizes that she's a daughter of a king of the universe and has authority to get rid of evil things that are robbing people of their joy. It's not just taking stuff from them, it's taking them from them. People aren't themselves. We're created in the image of God, and we're not fully ourselves. And whatever's in the way, it's stuff that we're going to move tonight. But he kept talking to the men about this kingdom that's going to last forever. And the fact that the government is actually going to rest on his shoulders. Jesus is telling his men this. And of course, like us as men, we're like, right over our heads. You ever had those conversations with your wife where I'm listening to every word you say. In fact, I could tell you word for word what you just said, but I didn't hear what you just said. And that's when my wife would say, you don't see me. You don't understand me. Just because you can tell me what I said, you're not hearing me. And Jesus had that same dilemma with the men. It's like, yeah, we can even do that. Isn't that something? And when you get your wits about you, wow. I hope you guys are tracking with me. Holy Spirit, help these words to become manna that feed us to where none of us can hear this and leave here the same way. So Jesus said, I'm going to have to go away. And they're like, nope, don't do that. We got too much business to do. We got a kingdom to build. And they didn't get it. And then they had to sit there and watch like front row seats to watch King Jesus, the lover of all, the one that the only opposition he had was the forces of darkness that had invaded the minds of men. And they called themselves worshipers of God. And he showed them that I will not stand for you to lie to my people anymore. You're not going to use my name. This is Jesus speaking. You're not going to use my name to deceive people anymore. You've held them under your bondage long enough. Religion has held people under a bondage. And don't throw church into this. I'm not talking about anybody specific. I'm talking about a spirit that we just took authority over that makes it to where we don't have to spend our whole life doing it that way anymore. And there's going to be a oneness and a feeling that's going to happen because after Jesus left and the men, they were scared and literally went back to what they knew to do. He found them, they just went back to their old gigs. They didn't know what to do. Jesus is gone now, so I guess it's over. What about this kingdom that he was going to build? And they didn't realize that he had to defeat sin. He had to defeat fear. He had to defeat death. The death itself wasn't going to be something that would ever shut him up. And so when he shows back up on the scene, they're still trying to figure out, how does this work? Does that mean now we have authority to go build this kingdom that you're talking about? He says, no, boys, there's more. Like I didn't just kill death so that you guys could keep doing the same stuff you're doing. I killed death so that you can become like me. The same spirit that rose me from the dead is the same spirit that's going to live inside of you. It's stirring. And I have no idea what it would have been like to be one of those people on the day of Pentecost when the Holy Spirit fell on them like fire. And it changed them. I'll just say that. It changed them. And they started undoing the works of the devil. They started taking ownership for their own lives and realizing that I need to become a whole man. And me becoming a whole man isn't just me following some rules. I need to be filled with that same power that those men were talking about. And I've been surrendered to this for 30 years now. And I got in an argument with my wife yesterday. Was it yesterday, sweetheart? Just a reversion back to my old way of, I wasn't listening. I wasn't hearing her. So please don't take this as some absolute, like I'm a dude out here sitting here like I've got this all figured out. But this ongoing promise that he said that I began this good work in you and I'm going to continue this work forever. That if this is what the world is dying for, then I'd say that it's our time, men. This isn't just a horse that had a session. If you can get the picture, it's where Jesus said, come to me, all you who are weary and you're heavy burdened. You've been beat down. You've had hard things. You're struggling. You're anxious. You're fearful. All y'all, come to me. And I'm going to show you what it's like to actually have some peace. And I'm going to give you new ways, new strategies. You're not going to need to have to numb yourself to get through your days. You're not going to be so insecure that you have to defend yourself all the time. That our orphan side of us doesn't have to be so fearful of people leaving us. This fear of abandonment. And men, you know what I'm talking about. We don't talk about it much, but we're all dealing with the same stuff. It's the pressure of how am I going to come through? Do I actually have something to say about my future? Or am I just trapped in my dad's ways or my family's ways? How are we doing on time? Eight o'clock. You're special. Just for a minute, consider the tragedy if this never happened. Just go ahead and admit that today's all about you. That all of this would have happened just for one of you. To get it to where, oh my gosh, I literally have figured out a way to just be complacent in my life and get by. And there's a ton of you that are honest enough to say, my ways just don't work. There's a reason why people don't want to be around me. There's a reason why I don't have intimacy in my marriage. There's a reason why my go on and on and on. And we're not going to let shame come in here and start teaching us again. We've got rid of shame. Like shame would never have worked. He'd have called me out as a liar and it never would have worked. But we're going to be honest about it because we're never going to be able to heal if we don't know that we need healed. And we've all got the same diagnosis. Remember the first time I did that? I remember. I'm going to have to stretch that one out. I got something else for you. Wasn't sure if we'd take time to do this, but I think it'd be really appropriate because I see that you're seeing, like you're getting it. What are we going to leave here with? Does this actually have enough truth to it that we can sit here and watch something like this and not just let it be new information or a cool horse trick or whatever it potentially could become to you? I don't think he's taking anything for granted anymore. The stakes got too high. Because after I broke through his survival instinct and I realized that I'm good as dead anyway, then verses like, reckon yourself dead to sin and alive to Christ make sense. It's like we're dead anyway. Do we want to continue to live with sin having authority over our lives where we just get to make up our rules as we go, thinking that that's what freedom is going to do for us? And it's killing us. And so this submission, I know that's a big, nasty word for some people because people have abused you and misused it. No. That if he's reckoned himself dead, what is he alive to? Because now these are things he wasn't born with. Now he's got a gift that makes it to where he can go to war. We can hang all sorts of stuff off this thing. And men have got an idea of Christianity of, I don't know, maybe the choir boys. Just sitting with their hands folded. Pictures of angels with wings that just look like heaven's going to be a place where everybody's in white robes or something. Men, we've been born into a world at war that's set in the midst of a love story. So if we don't realize the fact that there are spiritual forces, it's not just bad behavior and it's not just you not knowing what to do. There's forces against you that you're not going to be able to overcome. And apart from Jesus, you're just really going to be left to fend for yourself. And the only resources you've got is more try. Maybe a better therapist. Maybe you got to switch brands of whiskey. I don't know. But what you've been doing, if it ain't working, then we can be humble enough for a minute to say that, why was everybody attracted to Jesus, yet they are staying away from church? I'm not going to answer the question. I think you guys ought to find out why. Is it just because they're stuck in their own ways and they want to destroy their lives and they want their family to fall apart and they want to stay stuck in addiction? Or is it because they're not really that inspired by us? Realize I said us. I kind of cheat. People come because they want to see what I do with a horse. But I want my sons to want to be around me, not because I've given them a set of rules, but because they've seen a way that works. It's filled with power. It's what the whole world is searching for. And their generation, more than any other generation that, well, we could go back to the hippies, but they were fed up with what life the way it was. We need to know this Jesus, this risen one, the one that fills people with power and makes it to where we're able to do things that we've never done before. Wow. He's a war horse, man. This is what we were born for. I know.
Goodness is running out. It's running out.
I'm done, guys. We just had a conversation. I don't know what all I said, but you can forget everything I said, but please don't forget this. He was one thing until he had an encounter, and then he was something different.